Hey guys, thanks for tuning in and stopping back by. Welcome to the second part of our Thoughts-Based Designs video series. As you know, we're going to be covering a variety of topics related to marketing and branding that could possibly teach you a thing or two in regards to your own business and your own marketing efforts. So, in today's video, we're going to talk a little bit about creating engaging content. And what I mean by that is creating content that you can share around on social media, that you can put up on your website, that you can share on all these different outlets that you have in order to actually engage your users. Whenever you're creating content or trying to come up with something for your social media page, a lot of people have a hard time trying to figure out, just where to start. Ultimately, there are a lot of different options for things you can do. Some things are going to engage your customers better than others. At a basic level, you could just simply reshare content from other people's social media pages, things that are related to your industry. Now, let's say you're a musician. Really, there's a lot of different options. Let's say that a famous musician that plays within your genre somehow became newsworthy for some reason. You can go and find an article about it that's decently well written and share that on your social media page. Now, that kind of content certainly engages users. However, whenever you run a small business and you have your own social media page, most of the time that people follow you, whenever they aren't your friends and family, most of the time that people follow you, they're following you because they're interested in your business, in your updates, because they want your content. They don't want somebody else's content. They don't want curated news from other sources that they could have found themselves because, well, they have Google too, and they could go out and find that news themselves. Whenever people specifically choose to engage with and follow your business on social media, it's because they care about you. Now, that ultimately is where you really got to start thinking, what can you do to generate your own unique, what we call original content that will engage your users while you might not be in the business of content generation? So what do I mean by that? ThoughtSpace was just a web design firm for the longest time. We made websites. We didn't do a whole lot of other things. We started doing logos here and there, and eventually we grew into something much larger than we were. But while we were a website design company, I really didn't do a very good job of keeping our social media up to date. Had I kept our social up to date, there would have been a lot of different topics that I could have written original content on, a lot of different things that I could have done. You have to ask yourself, what can I create that might be a valuable resource that can either be free or paid, whatever, that could be useful to other people? In the case of me, with web design, when we were running ThoughtSpace, the first thing that came to my mind was to simply create plugins. We call them plugins. What they are is they're little pre-written pieces of code that you can use to help make websites more quickly. So I go out, I find a plugin for, say, contact form, and I install it on your website, and I don't have to then go and build that whole contact form out because I have a plugin for it. I wrote a couple of plugins for ThoughtSpace and released them, and honestly, that actually helped our traffic a lot, but the problem was that the traffic that it delivered to our site was our competition. Other people looking for plugins who, believe it or not, are web designers. So I had to make a shift in my own content generation and figure out how I can make content that my clients would find interesting. And this is a question that you should be asking yourself too. How can you make content for your social media pages, for your website, and for your marketing efforts that your potential clients will find interesting? The answer to that is different for everyone. The answer to that isn't going to be the same no matter who you are or what business you run. When it comes to content and what engages your customers, it's ultimately going to depend on what your business is and why they followed you in the first place. But you do have to ask yourself, what is it that these people followed me for? So let's go back to the example of a musician that I used earlier. That musician, instead of sharing content that relates to his industry, to his or her genre of music, whatever it may be, they could create their own content. They could, let's say they play guitar for their band. They could sit down and just have a quick jam session on their guitar and post that up to their social media page and engage a lot of followers that way. Because when people follow a musician, they follow them for their music, for their content, for what it is that they provide. I mean, this obviously is a pretty transparent example in that whenever you do a skill like this, a practicable, demonstrable, performance-based skill like musician, then you have something that you can film and something that you can put out. So then, let's put this question over into the realm of something like a legal firm or something. Let's say that I run my own law firm. What useful and unique content could I generate for my law firm that could engage new visitors via inbound marketing? That can definitely be a difficult thing to answer whenever you don't have some sort of performance-based skill set. But utilize this video as an example in what I'm doing right now. There are topics, whenever it comes to marketing and branding, that are very beneficial for my clients to know about, because when it comes to marketing and branding, it's very important that you also work on your own marketing efforts. You can't just hire a company and expect them to flip your business on its head if you aren't ready to also do what it takes to get your business up to par and to start working on your own marketing. So, what I do is I use these videos as a means to educate my clients, and that's providing a resource. This is teaching you guys right now what you can be doing to engage your customers more. So carry this over to a law firm and, figure out exactly what you could do if you were a lawyer trying to generate some content to get your business up off the ground and to start with some inbound marketing on social. Well, there are a lot of legal questions that people tend to ask over and over, and I'm sure, speaking to the lawyers here that are watching this video, that you guys know what those questions may be. There are a lot of common areas of law, things like, landlord-tenant law or employment law, all sorts of different topics that are very common, and within each of these topics, there are frequently asked questions. Now, what you can do is answer some of those frequently asked questions. So, there's many different ways to do that, but what we're talking about here is trying to engage people within your following. We just want that engagement on social. We want to see that the people that are actually looking at our posts care about our posts. The trick to social is to catch your customer's eye while they're scrolling through and they see it in your feed. So, you might have seen at the beginning of some of these videos, my biggest hobby, actually, I fly racing drones for fun. So, what I do is I actually utilize that content that I get off my drones. I take short little clips out of it, and I've been putting it at the beginning of my videos just as quick little intros to catch your attention and to get you to watch and learn more about, ultimately what's going on with it. And the trick there is to figure out what it is that you can do that will catch your customers' attention. So, answering frequently asked questions on your social media page in a plain text format is probably not going to catch their attention. You'll notice what I'm doing here. Video. Video is a tough one for a lot of people. A lot of people have a hard time getting their head around wanting to actually film themselves or actually start up with doing video. However, video is a very engaging format that captures your viewers' attention. You see video all over the place. You see video on people's private websites explaining what they do. You see YouTube videos explaining tutorials and instructions for all sorts of different things, whatever it is you want to learn. Video is a much more engaging format that really can draw your viewers in. So, the point of today's lesson, if you're trying to build a following for yourself, get your business seen, really utilize your social as an inbound marketing tool, then you need to go out and start generating engaging content that your users, rather your potential customers, are going to want to consume, that they're going to see, that's going to catch their attention, and that they're going to want to stop on. So maybe it's a video, maybe it's an infographic, maybe it's just a little tidbit or fact, maybe you took a photo somewhere. If you aren't producing content, then your social outlets, your website, it's all for naught. Because they're nothing more than brochures. They're brochures about your business that tell a little bit more. So you need to use those brochures to your utmost advantage. You need to go out and figure out how you can hand those brochures to the right people, or get those brochures in front of the right people that are going to care about reading them. If you wander down the street handing brochures to everybody, 95% of people are going to throw them away. But if you're wandering down the street with a sign while handing out brochures that says, ask me about whatever, the people that are interested in whatever that may be will come up to you and ask for a brochure. And that ultimately is key to successful marketing. You don't want to shove it down people's throats. We're not just throwing brochures at anyone who will listen. We want effective, targeted marketing. We're trying to market to the people who care, people that want your products, and the people that do listen. So generate some content. Start asking yourselves, what content can I generate that is going to truly engage my users? How can I get some new customers in the door here? How can I start getting these people to my site just because they want whatever content it is that I'm providing, whatever resource it is that I'm providing? So until next time, hopefully you guys learned something today. Have a good one.